Hey everyone, and welcome back to Duel Replays. And today I am super excited because I get to show you what is undoubtedly my favorite deck. I want to say of all time. I think there's a pretty limited sample for me, but this is definitely my absolute favorite deck to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! And Master Duel. It is pure Millennium, and oh my god, I love the fuck out of this deck. The entire point of this deck is to summon the unstoppable Exodia Incarnate, who is a huge fucking dude that can't be destroyed by card effects. During battle, once a turn, you can permanently increase its attack by your life point total. So you can get really big really quickly, and that's kind of the point. From full health, you can one shot OTK your opponent. So this dude's super big, super threatening on board, and once a turn, you get a Speller Trap card negation as a quick effect, which is super awesome. And if that wasn't enough, at the end of the turn, you can also set one of the Exodia or Obliterate Speller Trap cards that support it directly from your deck, and I will talk about those. Those are crazy. The only downside here is that during your standby phase, you lose 1,000 life points every turn. I'm not really sure why. I guess it makes the grind game a little bit dicier and gives you something to play around. But I mean, this is a strong fucking card. As far as boss monsters go, it's one of like my favorite design boss monsters because of how it interacts with the rest of the deck. If you could just put this out like as like a Baron, I mean, it's way better than a Baron. You could think about it like a Baron de Fleur on steroids. As for the deck, this is where we start talking about the limitations and the strengths of this deck. Because what really, really excites me about this is that as powerful as this card is, the deck is designed with so many limitations that in some cases are also strengths. It's super fun to try to play around that yourself, both in the deck building and the playing. So to start, we've got all 5 of the Exodia monsters in here. These are bricks. You're not trying to draw Exodia. You're not trying to summon Exodia. You need these for Millennium Ankh. And this is a spell card that just directly summons the big guy out from the extra deck. You show all of the Exodia monsters in your deck, in your hand, or on the field, shuffle them back into the deck, and then summon them. Okay, nice and easy. That is a 1-card combo that just gets you there. Also, after activation, shuffle. You can't summon anything. After you activate this, you can't summon. So it's sort of like a TY-PHON. It's a Baronne de Fleur plus TY-PHON, with some other stuff. It's a really cool boss monster, but it does have that restriction. To get to Millennium Ankh, Shield allows you to just get that for the cost of 2,000 life points. Golem gives you WEGGY Temple, the same thing, and that allows you to grab more of the Millennium monsters. Heart of the Blue Eyes, you can just pitch it from your hand to grab the Millennium Ankh. So all of this is just designed around getting the Millennium Ankh card so that you can get your guy onto the field and start telling your opponent to try to kill you, or they'll die. Notably, all of these Millennium cards do set themselves in the back row first and then special summon themselves in order to activate their effects. So it's a really cool way of getting around certain restrictions. It also makes it really good to use with Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon, because if you have a couple of monsters that you just have in your back row now that you don't need, you can Doomed Dragon to remove one of your opponent's cards. This is a great going second or turn 3 just like cleanup tool. There is WEGGY Temple allows you to actually take any monster and put it in the back row as a spell trap in order to get one of the other Millennium monsters. So if you have like a right leg that you've drawn in your opening hand and a WEGGY Temple, you can actually just use it as fuel. So it's less bricky because of that. So it's got this really cool engine going on here. What you may notice is that the rest of this thing, obviously we've got the Maxies and the Ash Blossoms and stuff like that, but this deck doesn't require a normal summon to do anything. So you can put cards in like Lava Golem and Winged Dragon of Frost Sphere mode. You can use Super Poly because your extra deck is literally just this guy for this strategy. So you've just got a bunch of Super Poly targets. And the only reason I don't have 3 is just because it's a lot of crafting material. You can also do a whole bunch of stun cards. Macro, Goes and Match, Anti-Spell Fragrance, to really annoy the shit out of your opponent, because for a lot of it, and then like a D-shifter here too, because for a lot of it, you're not relying on comboing into your graveyard, or like through your graveyard, or yeah, you're really doing a lot of comboing at all. You can, even if you have nothing to counter max C, if your opponent max C's off rip, you can just Millennium Ankh and say, cool, set 2 pass. So it's super simple, it's super compact, and this deck plays around a lot of different pitfalls that a lot of other decks put up, just because it's so unorthodox with how it approaches its setup. It's very low to the ground in that way. The rest of the extra deck is I have Charmers in here because if you do have one of these monsters on field, then you can Charmer for another thing. I should have a Unicorn in here just as like a to actually use with them. But this deck doesn't really spend a whole lot of time building up, so it's just got a lot of like Link 2 stuff for value. Little Knight, Sorcerer of Sebek helps you get some life points back in the grind game. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Oh, except for the actual spell traps themselves, because the thing that makes this deck strong is that very last effect on the Unstoppable Incarnate, where you can set a Exodia or Obliterate spell trap. Fires of Rage is a one-sided board wipe. Not Raigeki, not Heavy Storm, it's both. It's a once per turn both. Obliterate is a compulse that you can use by sending an Exodia card to your graveyard. But the secondary effect of Fires of Rage also means that you can retrieve any banished or in the grave Exodia cards and just put them back in your deck. So Fires of Rage not only helps you get back your Exodia monsters if they do somehow find their way into the graveyard, it's also just an incredibly powerful spell card. There's also Obliterate Blaze, which is a if nothing else is threatening you, you just win the game. It is a 10,000 attack OTK for you to end the game. And if you don't, then you're going to be very sorry because it takes up all of your spell trap card zones. Okay. That is a pretty exhaustive rundown of what's going on here. I didn't even tell you about Maiden. Maiden's great. We'll get to Maiden. But let's go ahead and get into the duel here because I've spent, 7 minutes talking about this? Holy shit. Okay, but now you know. Now you know what Millennium is about. Now that you know what Millennium is about, we can get into the duel. Which, shit, they got a nice background. I mean, I should get that. All right, we're going first, and this is awesome. We already have 2 Ankhs in hand, so even if for some reason they had a way to negate that, like an Impulse or whatever, we just have a second one. And this is a niche thing that comes up. This card can only be activated once per turn, but if the activation is negated, you can just go ahead and use a second one. Anyways, Golem gives us the Temple. Temple lets us set this guy to grab this guy, and now we've just got a lot of stuff on field. Booyah. So the cool thing about these the Millennium support cards here is that a lot of them are like they can't be destroyed by monster effects or spell trap card effects or stuff like that. So they're just useful support, and then their bodies. Plus, with Weggy Temple, if this is on field, if they do get destroyed, they just go back to your spell and trap zone, so you can use them next turn. So pretty awesome. All right, now we're in a situation where we actually had Fires of Rage in our hand, so we're just going to go ahead and get Obliterate. Now we have both of the primary defensive spell cards. So let's see what they are going to end up doing. All right, Ogdoadics. So don't know much about Ogdoadics, but I do see a once per turn on a UR searcher spell card. So we're going to go ahead and negate that. So we can no longer negate any spell or trap card effects, but what we can do is pull out Maiden of the Millennium Moon. And this is an MVP and one of the cards that I think you must have in your deck. It's one of the best reasons to run Sengenjin. It's an illusion monster, so it can't be destroyed by battle, but when it's summoned, your opponent can't target your Unstoppable Exodia Incarnate with effects. So now you have an indestructible, untargetable boss monster. And that is really annoying to get over. So they're going to go ahead and go off with some adventurous stuff. We're going to Fires of Rage here because I'm really dumb. That's pretty much it. I said, well, we've got an Obliterate on field. Surely it'll be fine. This is going to turn into just an absolute bare knuckle brawl. So we're going to go ahead and contest their normal summon. They normal summoned a normal monster, so I figure they can't have that much left. But oh boy, how wrong we were. They're going to be able to keep continuing off. Everything's in defense position, so thankfully that doesn't matter. But from what I know about Ogdoadics, it's all about making shit 0 attack. The more 0 attacks you have, the better. Oh, hey, look at that. They stole it. Assholes. Okay, all right. They got the Tsuchinoko. Tsuchinoko real? Tsuchinoko real. Aliens, a Duel Links, a Duel Links classic. And now I'm getting a little bit scared because, well, they're putting up a bunch of big monsters, and they do seem like they're able to, make my monsters be in attack position when they want. So, does make me a little concerned, especially because they just ran into my guy. You don't like it when they put your dude in defense position, but hey, that's okay, because right now we've got Millennium Ankh. We also have Sphere Mode, which we can actually use. This is a nifty combo. You can summon Sphere Mode and then use Obliterate to send it back to your hand. It's awesome. Except you can't, because it can't be targeted. So we're actually not cool. We're actually we're actually in a bit of an unfortunate situation. Well, we can at least bring our guy back again. We only do have 2 of them, and the primary reason for only having 2 Unstoppable Exodias in our extra deck is I didn't pull anymore. That's it. That's it. We do have a Fires of Rage, though, so if they can't use this Winged Dragon of Ra, we'll get that back, and we'll be able to blow up their whole board. Again, we're going to summon another Maiden of the Millennium Moon, and they're going to go... Oh, well, they took it. They're going to banish the Tsuchinoko, do something, modulate the attack of the Golem. So because of that Ra, we could not get in for lethal. So that's a little unfortunate. But we can still, maintain board presence. They're going off. The thing about Ogdoadics is they go for a while. They really go for a while. So my hope is that when they put the field spell on board and I negate it, cool, maybe that's the last thing that they can do, but holy moly. Thank goodness for Molcharmy Meows, because this is a deck that just really either gets hammered by it or makes you lose to it from deck out. I am in awe. I'm in awe of what this deck can do, just in terms of continuing to pull stuff out. Their Ogdo Abyss does seem to have a non-targeting, non-destructive removal effect on it, so I want to get that out while I have something on board. But they are able to... Well, they're actually not able to do a lot. They're able to take out the Heart of the Blue Eyes, but it's still back there. And this is why you want Doom Dragon, because, that gets rid of that guy. There we go. Putting monsters that aren't intended to be in the back row is super great. Unfortunately, right now we're in a position where we are now out of Unstoppable Exodia Incarnates, so we have to go into our grind game. And this is where having more cards like Silhouette Rabbit, which gets a neat little 2-card combo that we'll talk about later, helps. Well, in this situation, unfortunately, they have their recursion. We were able to get in for some damage, but it's going to be a struggle for us to finish them off. And there goes the Ogdo Abyss to clear our board. Really unfortunate. And they're able to get in for some damage as well. So for now, it's just it's a matter of who can do the most with the least. Booyah. Alright. We've got our shield back. And they're going to go for more Ogdoadic stuff. Please, if you are an Ogdoadic player out there and you know this deck, the ins and outs of it super well, please let me know what they're doing, if they're doing it well, because they sure are doing a hell of a lot, which I really respect. I really do respect that. Now we've got 2 Onks for not really much of anything. And unfortunately, we did have to send some monsters to the graveyard to get the Doom Dragon out, so... but we can also the Earth Charmer them. And they are now on such low life points that we can steal their Abyss, go ahead and Doom Dragon, and finally, blessedly, mercifully, get in for lethal. And this is fun. I don't know about you, But like this is fun Yu-Gi-Oh! When you have a bunch of shit to do and they have a bunch of shit to do, and it's a 7-turn game, not because you know, you've got like one card that can like avoid getting destroyed super early and just kind of like sticks around while your life points go to 0 and your opponent gets 12 billion cards. I mean, this is a good match. This is a good, fun, long match, and it was only because I couldn't blow them up and they couldn't blow me up, and it was a nice little battle. So let's go ahead and take a look at their deck. Ogdoadics. How do Ogdoadics function? Well, they've got Water Lily. I know that's a really good card because it's a foolish that can also special summon. Snake Rain. Jesus Christ, that's 3 Snake Rains. So they've got 7 foolish burials plus other stuff. That's awesome. Got a little adventurer package here. It's neat. We like that. Yeah, some Ogdoadic support cards here, and then I mean, I think we saw pretty much all of the names, right? Like Ogdoabyss, Nephilibis, Emunessa. Not that I know what they. This seems like a very, you know, it's a very combo heavy deck. Therion here, Nunu, Water Enchantress of the Temple. Also, you know, so Ogdo Adventure. Cool stuff. Interesting. I think that maybe they could have cut like Black Mamba or Reptilian Naomi or something, but hey, you know, maybe they just need, you know what, they probably need a critical mass of reptile names in the grave. And then pretty generic looking extra deck. Baron, Excel Dragon, Bestial Despotter, Chaos Angel, by Gusto, King of the Feral Imps for just more shenanigans. It looks like we saw pretty much everything. They did have the alien stuff, which is really cool. I've basically never seen these 2 alien cards other than like in this deck. So neat stuff. A little bit of a reptile pile. Ogdo stuff. Let me know if you're familiar with this at all. Again, I had fun with it. I hope they had fun with it. And I had fun with Pure Millennium. And you're going to be seeing a few more Pure Millennium builds. I think that Pure Millennium is kind of the fun way to play, and that's kind of how I've been doing it. Centurion uses the Wedgie Temple plus Golem package, which is why it got limited. Some other decks can use that as well, but I mean, this Millennium deck, it is a blast to play. And if you have a chance, I recommend it. It's super linear, it's super straightforward, it's really, really easy to pick up, and it's a ton of fun. So yep, that's gonna be it for me though. Let's go ahead and get into the uncommentated recording of the duel. Super fun. This one will go at double speed just because it's super long and we're already at 17 minutes. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one.